for current transfer students. So we're going to be asking them set questions, and then if any question comes up that you think of, just write it in the chat, and at the very end we'll give those questions to the to the panel. So yeah, so like Sinai said, we have current transfer students from every department. And I guess to begin, let's have panelists introduce themselves, tell us the major, community college that they transferred from, and we'll do another fun fact. So Maria, who's bioengineering. Maria, can you get us started?
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Maria Scaff. I am in the bioengineering department and my major is bioengineering. Bioengineering, it's a funny specialty within the bioengineering. Anyway, it's kind of silly, but so I transferred from Cochise College in Arizona, so I am an out-of-state student, and I think that covers it, right? Yeah, I transferred in 2018.
Great. Yeah, one more thing, guys. If you want to see just individual speaker view on the top right corner, if you just click speaker view, it's probably a bit nicer. So yeah, next we have Kaya.
Ka, can you please introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry. I heard Kaya, and I'm so sorry. Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Ka. I'm also from bioengineering major, and I'm from Warren, and I guess this is my third year as a transfer student in UC San Diego. Anything else? Oh, a fun fact about me is that I'm a bilingual. I speak Vietnamese and English. And other people would think that like bilinguals know both language fluently, but it's not really the case. We usually just forget one language while speaking the other, and we just confuse everything together. Yeah.
Great. Next we have Leah.
I'll go ahead and go next. Delilah. Hi everyone, my name is Delilah. I use she, her, or they, them pronouns. I am also bioengineering, which is a mouthful. And I come from the Bay Area. So I graduated from Cañada College and College of San Mateo in the Bay Area. And a fun fact is that I'm growing my own pumpkins for Halloween this year.
Next we have Delina.
Yeah, I can go on. So hi everyone, my name is Delina. I'm also bioengineering, a lot of words as well. I transferred from Cypress College last fall, and I also happen to be an international student. So if there's any international students, feel free to ask this question. And I also happen to be actually trilingual. No, is that a word? I don't even know, but I also speak Albanian, English, and Turkish. So yeah. Congratulations, everyone.
So next is Justin.
Well, hi everyone. I am a chemical engineering major in part of the nano engineering department, and I transferred from community college in Chula Vista, Southwestern College. And this is my third year being a transfer, and it's awesome. It's my last year. I'm excited. And a fun fact about me, actually this summer I did a road trip all the way to Oklahoma, and it was like 20 hours of driving.
Next is Andrew.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrew, and as some of you know, I am one of the T-Prep leaders and will be one of the panelists. I am a computer science fifth year transfer student from San Diego Miramar College, and a fun fact about myself is that I am San Diego born and raised. But so basically, I've been living in San Diego my entire life.
Great, and next is Stephen.
Hello, everyone. I am Stephen Luyapan. I am a mechanical engineer in the MEE department. I come from Edmonds Community College, located in Washington State, so up north, not Washington, D.C. Fun fact about me is this year I will be an RA located in Pepper Canyon housing, where the new village is located. So I might be able to see some of you if you're living on campus.
Right, next is Pedro.
Hi everyone, my name is Pedro Bernal. I'm a mechanical engineering major in the ME department. I transferred from Santa Monica College. And one fact about myself is that I'm a diehard Laker fan.
Great, next is Alita.
Hi, my name is Elida. I am a structural engineering major. I'm a second year transfer. I transferred from Los Angeles Southwest College in South Central LA. And a fun fact about me is that I like to draw and paint.
Next is Edmund.
Yo, all right, I know we're speaking right now. Hey guys, name's Edmund Libert. I'm a second year ECE major, specializing in computer engineering. I'm from the Bay Area. Anyone north of SF? Culture Marin? All right, no hands. But yeah, I'm glad to speak to you guys. I'll be one of your panelists.
And last is Willy.
Hi everyone, my name is Willy Chow. This will be my last year at UCSD. I'm an electrical engineering major with an emphasis on power systems and power electronics. I transferred from De Anza College about 3 years back. And a fun fact would be, I guess I could do a backflip. I'm not going to do it now because I'm in a small room, but if you want to look at it, you go on Facebook. I think it's my profile pic. And yeah.
All right, great. So now I guess I will just be asking questions and then the panelists can respond and whoever wants to respond can answer. So the first question is, what is one resource at UC San Diego that has been really helpful to use as a student?
I can go first, I think. I feel like this is more personal to me. From a low-income family, and sometimes I struggle a lot with food, like having food. So UCSD do have a basic needs hub and a Trident pantry also. So if you ever having problems with, like getting food on the table for your family, for yourself, you can go there and get some food and get some help. And people there would also direct you to other resources, such as food stamps, register for a food stamp if you have jobs. So that has been a tremendous help for me during the first year, where everything was kind of hard financially for me. Yeah.
Cool. Another resource I'd like to share with you guys is the Academic Enrichment Program. It's they just kind of focus on giving undergrads a lot of research experience. And I actually got the chance to do some research with them. They have a special program called TRELS, which stands for Triton Research and Experiential Learning Scholars. And I did a project with them over the summer. And basically what you do is I met up with like a research professor, and me and him came up with like a plan to do over the summer, and I did it all remote. And then the AEP or TRELS, I applied for it, and they said I got accepted, and they gave me a $5,000 stipend to do research over the summer. And I also got to present at a conference over the summer. And I don't know, it was a really good experience. I learned a lot. And what's cool is that over the course of the quarters, you can apply for like a quarterly award, and they give you $1,000, and you get to do research with a professor. They like mentor you during it. And at the end of the quarter, I think you also do like a final paper or presentation. It's just a lot of good experience. And I'll put a link in the chat. It's called TRELS, TRELS, by AEP, the Academic Enrichment Program.
I guess more specifically for majors, especially for ECE, I really used the ECE Tutoring Center a lot. I know it's kind of with COVID, so we're all online, but I believe they still have tutors available that can do like Zoom calls and private stuff. So yeah, definitely if you're an ECE major, definitely use that. For other majors, I believe they have their own kind of correct me if I'm wrong, other majors, but I'm pretty sure they have their own kind of like tutoring sources and centers as well, where you can get help. So definitely seek help sooner than later, definitely.
Just to piggyback off of that, one resource that I used a lot was the engineering learning communities, so ELCs. So that's another tutoring service that they provide for any other major as well, so like mechanical, et cetera, aerospace. One class specifically that I used it for was dynamics. So back then it used to be like an upper div mechanical class, but now it's like a lower div, but it's still the same curriculum, but that class is really intense and it's just a lot of math and a lot of physics. But luckily enough, you know, with that service that I used, I was fortunate enough to get an A just because, you know, I met up with, you know, a group of students every week and basically, you know, we hash these assignments out. We basically go over review concepts and those things definitely helped out a lot.
I guess I'm also gonna piggyback on that because in the bioengineering department, we do not have tutors. So if you transfer into the bioengineering department, unfortunately, that's not something we have. But this year, I started an organization to teach some of the most challenging bioengineering concepts online. And so it's called The Big Bang. And if you're in bioengineering and you're gonna be taking biomechanics, bioinstrumentation, bioengineering probability, all of those concepts are being taught right now, and there's short videos teaching you how to solve some of the problems you'll see on a quiz or in a homework. So even though we don't have tutors, there will be resources available for you guys once you get in.
Maria, I think you should put on
Go ahead.
put in the link to the YouTube channel or the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And just on a more mental health related note, I would really encourage you all to take advantage of the virtual counseling and therapy services through CAPS, Counseling and Psychological Services, because these are tough times. No one can disagree with me. And it's free. And paying for a therapist out of pocket is really expensive. Even if you've never done it before, this is a great time to try it. It's very, I mean, you just have to hop on your computer, and the worst that can happen is you feel awkward for an hour. But the best thing that can happen is you find the skills that you need to cope with these really difficult times.
One kind of simple but people forget is just the professors themselves too. Like going into office hours, like they're always, most of the time they're by themselves in the office lonely. So like it's not just like tutoring help too, but if you guys like, you know, maybe want to get like a connection or be more personable with them, like they're most of the time, okay, not most, okay, there's a good chunk of them who are more personable and that you can actually relate to. You know, you got to shoot your chance, but it's a really big resource to use. So just don't forget that. Don't be shy too. Like they're always there to help you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and I kind of regret not going to my professor's office hours that much. Another resource, I know I'm like giving a lot, is the Envision Studio. I think we talked about it in another program, but the Envision Studio is located at the Structural and Nano Engineering building, SME. I forget what it stands for, but it's basically a hub where you have 3D printers and like laser cutters and laser like engravers. And I've gone there a few times, and it's just really fun to kind of like de-stress and like build things. Like there's workbenches, you can use tools and like soldering irons. And I used to 3D print like little scuba heads for this aquarium that I had. And I like would engrave things in wood. I don't know, it's really cool. They have painting and stuff too, because it's also for visual arts. And it's great. It's free to use for all engineering students. So the 3D printers, I think those are actually like the only things that have a fee to like use. It depends on how much time you use using it. Yeah, but you do get 5 credits to start.
I'm pretty sure the 3D printers in the library are free though. Is that true?
Yeah, that's
so if
also
you
true.
want to 3D print free, you can go to the library, but Envisions have a bunch of tools that you can use. Not sure whether they open in the fall though, so that someone has to correct me on that because COVID, you know, I'm not sure.
Heads
I'm
up.
not sure.
Yeah, you guys are entering in a year where like all of these resources that we're talking about, like they're not going to be available as, I guess, as easy as you guys would like to access them. But one quick program for any of you guys who are interested in research, there's a program called ERSP, Early Research Scholar Program. This is more for the ECE and CS students, but they essentially pair you up with a professor to research under, and you get class credits too, and they count towards you graduating, and it's through fall, winter, and spring. But it's more of like a mentorship program too, so if any of you guys are like geared into research, like I highly recommend that too. I'll drop a link real quick.
And
Yeah,
so with
so
that, we
yeah,
should
go ahead.
I was just going to say we should move on to the next question. You can finish your thought, but right after we will move on.
You can just move on. I guess I can piggyback my idea on other questions.
Okay, great. So our next question is, what is one challenge you faced at UCSD and how did you overcome it?
I guess I'll take this one. So the one major challenge that I faced was struggling in my first year as a transfer student. So CSE majors in here, I don't want to scare you when I say this, but I actually failed CSE 12 twice. And I failed it in my first fall quarter as a transfer student, and then the second time as my first winter quarter as a first year transfer student. And so how I overcame it was actually through perseverance and through the help of friends, who helped me, who held me accountable for my success here at UCSD. And so during my third time of taking CSE 12, during my third time of taking CSE 12 again, I actually had another friend that I transferred from my community college with. And so by working on assignments with him, he actually helped me identify, why did I struggle so bad? And so after failing, after passing it within the third try, the lessons that I've learned from this experience were to always stay motivated. And yes, that was part of the reason why I struggled, was because of lack of motivation to pass my classes with good grades. And then the second advice that I would give to you guys is to have friends to hold yourself accountable for your success. And then my last advice that I feel is very important is to always have passion, because by having the passion, you will overcome any obstacle that in anything that you do. So that was my struggle and how I overcame it.
I can add in terms of the clubs around UCSD. So there's a bunch of engineering clubs, and one of the greatest events you can kind of hop into is Engineers on the Green. And you can search that up on Facebook. They have an event held by TESC, which is the Trident Engineering Student Council. I honestly had a tough time finding my own niche in terms of these clubs. And so I encourage all of you guys to kind of just explore, talk to a bunch of the members in each club to kind of figure out what you want, and also to find and discover your passion, because it all depends on who you're interacting with and what you truly love to do. And that's the main reason why I would join a club.
So on that was one of the challenges that I had when I transferred into UCSD. So when I came from my community college, I was coming from a small college where the community is very close-knit. Everyone knows everyone. And I was used to being in a lot of clubs, and it was just a friendly environment. But coming into UCSD, there are a gazillion clubs. And walking down Library Walk, which unfortunately you guys won't get to do, but walking down Library Walk, they're handing you a million flyers and inviting you to go to their meetings. And sometimes you do go to their meetings, but it feels like you're just another student. So that was something that I struggled with. I felt like, back at community college, everyone knew me by name. We were all friends. It was like a nice environment, just a nice community. And at UCSD, there are so many students that sometimes it feels like you're not being seen. And it's hard to find a club where you fit in. So it's a struggle sometimes to find a community or a group of students that you can hang out with, a club you really do enjoy. But don't give up. It took me a while from someone who joined 3 to 4 clubs at community college and was attending every single meeting for all of them and was officers and all of them. Every single semester at UCSD, I was in no clubs for a year because I just couldn't find one that I really enjoyed or one that I felt like I belonged in. Right now I'm in TESC actually. I am in the Triton Engineering Student Council, and that one is amazing. So I fit in there. I feel like I'm really happy. And you just gotta test it out, see what clubs you fit in and what's the environment you want to be in. But don't be discouraged.
Piggybacking on what the others said, Maria and Steven, definitely go and try to do something that is fun, that you enjoy, whether it be, you know, an academic club or a recreational club. You know, you're at UCSD to learn, but at the same time, you know, there's so many hours in a day and you can only learn so much in that short amount of time. So definitely, you know, prioritize your mental health and have fun. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to join some clubs, you know, do some intramural sports. They have intramural basketball, badminton, and I think volleyball. They have recreational classes, which you could take online as well. There's like fencing, there's gymnastics, introduction to like weightlifting. And again, like they said, there's a whole bunch of clubs, no matter what your passion is, whatever you think you might be interested in. I highly recommend at least your first year just to join all the clubs that you think you're interested in and just to see how they go.
One challenge that I had with clubs in general, when I came from community college, I didn't know anything about 3D printing, didn't know anything about, you know, SolidWorks, you know, 3D CAD or whatever. I didn't have any technical experience. So when I first got there to UCSD, you know, some clubs were actually pretty competitive. You know, they required you to submit your resume. They required you to like actually have an interview with them. And, you know, from then on, you know, my first year, I didn't get into a few clubs. I unfortunately didn't make it, didn't make the final cut. And, you know, that's when I decided to teach myself those technical skills. So I taught myself SolidWorks, taught myself certain things that I needed to know to finally get into a club. And then in my second year, you know, I interviewed for another club that I was really interested in. And from there, they accepted me, and now I'm in that club. But my suggestion to you guys would be to, if you're not really tech savvy and you don't have too much technical experience, don't be afraid to teach yourself the things that you need to know. Definitely just be patient because, you know, we're all transfer students, so we have different backgrounds. And that's one thing that I would highly suggest is just be proactive, try to learn things that you need to know, and just definitely put yourself out there and keep interviewing, and definitely try for all these clubs.
Yeah, building off from Pedro, you know, there are a ton of good resources out online that would teach you, you know, new technical skills relating to your major. So don't hesitate to, you know, do some online research of your own on learning new skills relating to your major.
So
Yeah.
I'll bring in the next question, which is kind of related. So have you had any internships or research lab experience, and what tips do you have on searching/obtaining this?
I think I can go on this one first. So my first year, again, it was a hard year for me. So I didn't join any club. I didn't know any research. I was struggling my courses. But at the end of I think I joined like team or jump, which is like the engineering group mentee mentor for transfer students or like new students. And they introduced me to UC Leads. UC Leads is a 2-year research based that goes for all the UCs. And the first year, they will pay for you to do research in the summer in UCSD, one of the professors in UCSD. And the second year, they will pay for you to do research on one of the other UC campus. And during the school years, they will pay about $1,200 for you to attend research conferences of your own choices. And I think that is such an amazing resource for me. Like for me, I am a UC lead, one of the people in the cohort, and knowing a lot of very well-driven individuals. And because of that, I got into research for 2 years. Like it was set for me. It was just very easy for me to just like find people. Like I can just talk to a professor, use my funding as my leverage. Yeah. So I will put down a link in the chat. But yeah, please check out UC Leads. I think that's just so cool.
I actually haven't had any internships or research yet, but I haven't like not tried. I definitely think that even though it's your first year, you should definitely try to go to the career fairs, even if they're virtual right now. At least get your face familiarized. Even if your grades aren't like you don't like have like all the qualifications, just like get your name like out there, meet someone. I definitely do have business cards, and I've met people based on just going and attempting. And the worst they could say is no. I also encourage you guys to definitely make connections with professors your first year, because you will need like letter recommendations. And it's good to have a professor that really knows you and like is really gonna like portray you in the best light. So
Yeah, so building off from Alita, so I've had obtained internships and research experience before. So basically, building off from what Alita said about connections, network is what definitely will give you the biggest advantage in your job hunt. Because like the reason why is because you know, first thing is, you know, recruiters, they're going to have so many faces to remember, so many applicants to remember. And so, you know, like if they have stacks of resume to remember and they end up narrowing down to like a specific number of resume, but they still need to narrow down further to like a certain number of resumes, they're going to have to think, how would I break the tie among these among these qualified candidates? And then, so the best way that they will probably narrow it down to is, who do I know best? And it's because if you get to know if you get to know the applicant as a person, you get to know like, oh, is this person actually hardworking? Is this person really easy to work with? Stuff like that. So, you know, you get, by knowing them at a personal level, you know, you really get to know, are they the recruiter gets to know like, oh, is this applicant really a valuable asset to this company? And so like another thing for me too was what really helped me to get my research experience was also through the fact that I've had a long time connection with with this professor. As a matter of fact, I knew that I have a family friend relation with this professor. So when I asked him, you know, oh, do you have any projects that you are working on? He just simply asked me, oh, okay, what's your course background like? And then he just assigned me to a project from there. So, you know, connections is definitely very important. And then also, not only the connections, also having a strong resume is an important factor as well in your job or research opportunity hunts.
One thing I would recommend for everyone to do is to attend PEI, so Professional Evening with Industry. And basically what that is it's a two-part event. So basically the first part of the event is a dinner with a recruiter. So you'll be seated at a table and this recruiter will be from a company or a national lab. And basically you'll get to know one another. And then the second part, basically it's a career fair. And at that career fair, you know, it's basically just how you would predict it, just lines everywhere, booths everywhere. But the thing is though, this event, the PEI event, is limited to certain clubs or organizations like SHIP, Society for Hispanic Professional Engineers, WIC, Women in Computing. So it's basically trying to help diversify, you know, these companies and national labs. And I attended last year. And just from attending that event, you know, I met a recruiter, added her on LinkedIn. We kept in contact, and then around, I guess like around January, because this event was in November. So around January, she told me, hey, we have 2 engineers that are looking to hire you. So I interviewed with them, and, you know, from there on, they did like, you know, my resume, I got to talk to them. And, you know, unfortunately, I didn't follow up with them anymore just because I had something else going on. But that helped me out a lot. And I feel like that PEI event is a huge, huge difference maker. And it's definitely something you should take advantage of.
Yeah, I can also share. So I've been I had been looking for like a research experience throughout the year, but just because I transferred last fall and the pandemic situation happened, it was kind of like hard to like figure out something in person. So I would totally recommend checking the academic enrichment office. I think Justin mentioned it before. He mentioned TRAUS, and there's also other programs, especially throughout the summer. I was part of the genetic scholars, but there's UC scholars, there's like McNair program. There's like many other programs that you could qualify for, and that kind of like can help you like even financially, but also get that research experience. So I've been in the lab for this whole summer for the 3 months, and I'm actually continuing that like even throughout the fall quarter. And I think that that's a good start, like especially in these times. And I would say do not be afraid to like even look for a remote opportunity. I actually really wanted something in person, like wet lab experience, but like because of the situation, it turned out to be something computational, like mostly in the computational side of bioengineering. And it turns out that I actually like it. So don't be scared to like try new things, I would say. And you can always get something out of it. Like I came out like knowing nothing about like Python or any other software that they use, and right now I feel like really comfortable with that. So that's like, even though it is remote, you can always get something out of it, and it can actually turn out for like really good experience. So I feel like you should be checking the real portal one, and then the academic enrichment office with their programs. And I'm going to put the real portal here as well. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to share.
I guess I'll go next. Yeah, so like I said, I had a fortunate enough to be part of a research program with the ERSP. So I was doing research through the fall, winter, and spring of my first year. And then over this summer, I was doing research at UCLA and their bioinformatics lab for computation analysis. Yeah, that's one thing too. Like for more of you CS majors, like even if you can't get an internship, like you could always work on side projects or leak code or hacker rank. Like you guys have the ability to like build side projects that can help you make actually a nice portfolio. And also like when you guys get to UC San Diego, you'll be thinking like, I want to get a research just at this university. Like try to expand your horizon, because like the UC San Diego name has a certain pedigree to it. So you can find opportunities at Berkeley, San Diego. Like some of my friends were finding opportunities at like Caltech too, or even Stanford. So like it doesn't hurt to shoot a shot. Yeah.
So
I
one
also-
question coming in the chat a lot is talking about resources online. If any of you guys want to talk about some of the like software resources.
Oh wait, hold up! I got a fat Google sheet. Give me a second. So let me just. All right.
Yeah, I also want to, while Edmund is finding the Google Sheet, I just want to piggyback on his comment that it doesn't, because research right now is very interdisciplinary. If you are an electrical engineering, that doesn't mean that you have to apply to electrical engineering labs. You can go bioengineering, you can go mechanical engineer. Like sometimes, like my lab struggles with computer science, like coding. Like we would need just a CS major doing coding for us. And that's why I think that's why just try to find a research topic that you like and that do not care about the major or whatnot. The only important thing is that you can spin that or like talk to other interviewers or whatever future employers that, hey, I did this because I like this topic and I can apply my CS skill or engineering skills to this particular topic. And I think that's one of the important things that I think everyone needs to like know. Yeah.
Yeah, there are a ton of actually good websites to learn new coding languages. So it's like, you know, if you're interested in web programming, you can look at W3 Schools. If you are interested in just actually, so yeah, there's W3 Schools specifically for web programming. And then there's also Codecademy, where you can learn the basics and fundamentals of different programming languages.
Also, the Envision Maker Studio, they have like workshops that they have, I think like weekly. I think they're having them virtual right now too. So I would check your emails or like the website for SME, and they'll like have like the workshop schedules.
Oh yeah, thank you for bringing that point up, Alita. You know, also another thing too is that there are a ton of engineering. There are some engineering clubs and orgs on campus that hold technical workshops where they teach you the basics of different programming languages. So there are some engineering orgs that hosted like an intro to Python programming or intro to Java or intro to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So definitely look out for technical workshops hosted by engineering organizations, even though they are going to be virtual.
I think they also offer professional development workshops, like just to fix your resume or CV or whatever you did, or like improve your interview skills. And I think that those are the workshops that you should also apply and like attend, because I think like we do have UCSD has a center for checking your CV and resume also, but I feel like it's more it's easier to talk to your friends or your peers about your resume and then get a professional like opinion later. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the next question I want to bring up, we're running a little short on time, is what advice would you give to your past self or current transfer students?
I think it's really important for you guys, especially if you're coming in and you don't really have any friends from your community college coming to UCSD. Remember that when you are in that classroom and you're struggling with the material and you're struggling with the homework, everyone around you is struggling too. So make connections, get those phone numbers, get those Facebook pages, or just get people in your network, like students just like you. Make group chats and talk about the homework with them, talk about the content with them. That's going to help you a lot. I know sometimes you can be a little shy, but just try at least one person next to you. Everyone's struggling too, and having another student to talk about the material with, it's really, really helpful.
Yeah, just to piggy off, back off of that, I definitely think that, especially during these times, it's very hard to stay focused, especially like during midterms and stuff. Like, you know, like your living situation might not be ideal. But one thing that a professor did tell us, like during our winter quarter, she was just like, you know, yes, you'll have like a sleepless night, like an overnighter, like you won't get sleep, but it's just one night. Like you have to remember like what you're there for, and like what you're trying to get is your degree. And it might seem like super stressful at times, but honestly, like it's worth it at the end. Like just one night of no sleep, then you have like the next 2 nights of sleep. So just definitely just remember, like, you know, your grades don't define you, but you are still working to get those good grades.
I would like to add that fall quarter is probably the most important quarter of like the entire school year, because that's where you have the most opportunities, whether that's research, jobs, events going on. And as you get closer and closer to spring quarter, opportunities start to dwindle. I can speak from club experience, like the largest recruiting events, every club will be there for fall quarter, and some might not even offer like positions in winter or spring for recruitment. So really take this month to find all your resources. We've given you a bunch of links, and you should take this advantage, like cold email some of these people, they might respond. I know I respond to anyone who reaches out to my club. So make sure you try to communicate as much as possible in preparation for fall.
I guess to condense everyone's advice, just to reach out, like network and reach out. Like I feel like at this point in time, after like 3 years at UC in San Diego, I feel like I'm not paying tuition for the classes. I feel like the classes still have the basic the basic knowledge that you should know, but I feel like the network that we gain from, top world-class professors and the clubs that are helping you with your professional development, then just please reach out, because we are here for you. You guys can reach, I guess, like there would be emails of us at the end of the panel that you can reach out and ask questions. Please reach out. There are so many scholarship, fellowship opportunities out there for you, but you have to reach out. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If there was something that I would tell myself, my past self, it would be to get involved immediately. Find as many clubs as you can to join, because you never know. These engineering clubs that you join can help you build up your resume in some way, because these clubs can have, project opportunities that you could work on every quarter or every year. These, these clubs and orgs, can eventually help you to, be an officer, or can lead you to becoming an officer or an executive for them. And these leadership and project experiences that you have in these clubs, they will help you, build up your resume for job or research opportunities. So get involved, find as many opportunities as you can in your first year, and do it when fall quarter starts, because it's like when you start applying for opportunities, yeah, sure, you may not be able to get them, but you may not be able to get them because your resume may not stand out as well. But who knows, if you get these if you get an interview by applying to these opportunities, you at least get an interview with them. And even if you don't make it past the interview, you at least know what the interview process is like, so that way you can improve your interviewing skills. Because find opportunities, get involved right away.
Yeah, just to piggyback off Andrew, practice interviewing. It's a skill that's when you're actually under the pressure, it's hard for you to actually translate the knowledge that you actually have. And also start building that portfolio as soon as possible, CS majors. Everyone takes the same classes, and as much as it feels like you accomplished much when you do a really hard assignment in a class, half the score has done it too. So really try to distinguish yourself. That's the biggest thing that can really help you stand out and actually get that internship that you're really vying for.
Yeah, I feel like we emphasize a lot of kind of reaching out for help with professors and orgs, but I feel like a lot of times we forget that our fellow peers are probably also very, very knowledgeable. So definitely reach out to them, and us in general, your classmates, anyone in transfer prep, anyone in your classes or not. And it might be kind of intimidating now, but at the same time it's way easier than before, just because you could just simply privately DM anyone, right? And since we're all lacking human interaction, we're most likely going to respond, right? So definitely reach out to fellow classmates, maybe anyone in transfer prep. I'm pretty sure anyone here would be willing to help you in any way, shape, or form. And kind of going back on what Edmund said about resume stuff, right? Definitely just give your resume to one of your friends and be like, hey, does this make sense? Does this kind of portray me as what you think I am? Or how does this portray me as if you read this exactly, right? And sometimes we have friends that are in the same major, sometimes we don't. And sometimes you get probably the best feedback from someone that's not in your major, because they'll start asking you questions like, oh, what is this PCB stuff, huh? How do you do that? What does that mean to PCB? Is that the correct pronoun to use? PCB'd? Is that even a word? Right? So it gets you kind of thinking on what kind of recruiters would be kind of wondering, because HR reads it first, and then they would go into a hiring manager who is probably more technically advanced or experienced. So definitely, use every single resources that you can from professors, from organizations, from clubs, and also your fellow peers and students.
Yeah, so adding on to what Edmund said about interviews, if you end up getting an interview for whether it may be a research, job, or internship opportunity, try to get a friend who has experienced a lot of interviews before, because when you ask your friends to give you a mock interview, like those mock interviews can actually, help you out, know like, oh, this is what I should say during an interview. These are the questions that I will be asked during the interview. And, this is what I know not to say during the interview. So, like definitely interviewing, it is a practice. And in the first few times, it will feel very nerve-wracking, but the more interview practice, the more interviews you do, the more mock interviews you do, interviews will just become slowly an easy cakewalk for you.
So we got a question from the chat from Sonia. She says, when looking for internships, do you suggest them having a theme or having things in common, or do you suggest trying new things to gain skills?
I'd say apply to as many as possible. Okay. I would definitely start out with the ones that fit your interest. Just bottom line is apply to as many as you can, because I'm sure, like since you want a job or an internship, you never know which one are you going to land. And the more you apply to, the better your chances are of landing for an internship or a job opportunity.
It's straight up a numbers game. Like it's very competitive depending on your major, and don't be disheartened if you have to apply to like 80 or 100 internships, right? You just need one. My rule is that most HR people will be like, we want a full stack developer with, CSS, JavaScript, has to know R2 for some reason, who knows why. If you know about like 60% of the skills, you can apply and you can probably weasel your way into it, because you have to understand that when they post these job options or qualifications, they're looking for their ideal intern, right? But like they'll settle. I mean, that's life. Like they'll eventually settle. And if you can squeeze in there, and most of it's personality based too, like they'll ask you technical questions to see if you're competent. But most of it is just saying like, are you not going to drive me insane if I work with you? Like that's really it.
I would also recommend looking at your class schedules and seeing what skills you are gonna learn throughout the year, especially if you're looking for an internship for the summer, because you could also just let them know I don't know how to, do MATLAB, but I will be taking it this winter. By the time it's summer, I'll be able to have those skills, or vice versa for any other things.
And I think Ka touched on this earlier, but don't feel like you need to box yourself into your major. If there's something you're interested, like I'm a bioengineering major, but I'm interested in social justice and police activism, I can find, even though it seems like there's no connection, I'm also interested in biostatistics. And so I can find some kind of a data analysis volunteer thing, analyzing data from police brutality, et cetera, et cetera. You can absolutely find some interdisciplinary internships. I would recommend you try to apply to as many internships as you can that are positions where you want to be in, as opposed to positions you think you're good at, because you want to reach for your goals as opposed to just kind of staying where you're comfortable.
So we do have one more question. We did touch on it a lot earlier, but the question is, what clubs/orgs have you joined and would recommend? And also feel free to ask any questions in the chat or raise your hand.
I mean, I recommend SHIP, which is the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, and SCSE, which is structural, I don't know, SCSE. Structural and Civil Engineers. That's the professional org. I definitely think that you should try to get to something that's in your major and also something that you like to do for fun, just so that you have a balance. So yeah, that's what I recommend.
So this isn't an org, but it's my interest. So like I really like to dance. And so what I did for fun is I just started taking dance classes for fun at UCSD, and it's just like an elective and it's a really easy A, right? So I just take dance classes for fun each quarter and get that easy A. It's like a great GPA boost if you need it, and I just have fun. So I highly recommend, if you like to dance or you just want to learn how to dance, to take the dance classes at UCSD.
Take those dance classes, guys. It's fun. And also, okay, so it's closed right now, but join clubs that will not just be relevant to you, but something that might interest you. So like, let's say you want to learn a language, or you're interested in like geopolitical affairs, or maybe you're interested about like, you know, African American affairs. Like, try to cultivate your own kind of personality that's outside of CS, because when you get to UC San Diego, it's going to feel like everything's hammering for you to only focus on like academic grades. And like, that's good, don't get me wrong, but you want to be able to still be personable and still be a human at the end of the day. So like, don't forget that.
There was a question, is there a club that works on formula cars? You would want to sign up for Triton Racing. And there was a link for all the undergraduate engineering orgs. You can find their website over there. Personally, for me, I'm working for Triton Robotics, and previously I had been in RPL, which is Rocket Propulsion Laboratory, and IEEE, which is the electrical engineer org. But I'm purely focused on my efforts in Triton Robotics and what we're doing. So if I was to give a recommendation, it'd be the one that I'm in.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. I was just going to say the club that I'm in is called SEDS, so Students for the Exploration and Development of Space. So basically, earlier how I mentioned that, you know, there was a club where they treated it like a job. You know, they basically posted job openings, and you'd have to submit your, you know, resume. And then if they liked your resume, you get an interview. So basically that one is engineering based, and it's kind of like a professional development one where sometimes they have workshops that will help you, you know, improve your resume. They'll help you, you know, get scholarships, get internships, but at the same time, you know, they're really focused on like crazy projects like, you know, developing a methane LOX engine, making a lander, making an aerospike engine. So if you're really interested in, you know, anything aerospace, and if you're looking for something that's going to be, you know, where you're going to learn a lot, definitely I recommend, you know, trying out for SEDS. But like I said before, my first year I applied with them. It took me a total of 3 tries to finally get in. So I recommend, you know, if you don't have that technical experience, do what you can for your first year. Try to learn as much as you can. Don't be afraid to teach yourself the technical skills that you need, because I feel like that just learning how to teach yourself something, that's like a very, very, you know, invaluable skill set that you have.
Okay, great. Well, I guess that concludes the undergraduate transfer student panel, and thank you everyone who was on the panel, and we will be transitioning to the grad student panel at 2 o'clock. So I guess we'll have a 3-minute break, and we'll continue there. All right, thanks everyone.
All right, thanks, Nate.